Hello friends, in today's class we are going to talk about process creation and termination commands. That is a system call that can create the process and can kill the process. Welcome here, and we are talking about process creation and its termination command in UNIX. Now, all the processes have a unique process ID. Okay, now this is something new, that whenever we are creating a process, an ID has been assigned, and it has to be unique, otherwise there will be confusion. Okay, so get PID and get PPID is the system call that allows the process to get their information. Okay, so their information we can get by these two system call, get PID and get process PID. Process creation. Okay, the fork is the system call, creates a copy of the process and returns in both process, okay, but with a different return value. Okay, so now first of all, fork system call create a copy of the process. Okay, copy of the process. So it create copy of the process, and we call this process as the child process. Okay, it creates a child process, copy of the process, and returns in both the process. Which process? Child process and parent process. Okay, so return in both the processes. So you create a copy of and return in, after this it will return into both the process, and it will return in child process and parent process. Okay, so there will be a return call and it will return to both the process with a different return value. Okay, so what is the return value here? In this child process it returns with a value 0, and in the parent process it returns with the value 1. So just a simple example of it is here. In this case is main, suppose, and there is some few statement, and suppose there is a function f1. So what will happen is that when you go for the call for f1, then you will save the address of what? Next instruction. Okay, you will save address of next instruction, and upon termination of f1 you will return here only, right? So you are going to return in this space. We are going to return here after what? After f1 terminates. Okay, so after f1 terminates we are going to return to this function. Now, so here we are going to return to this function after termination of f1. Now here when you write, instead of this f1, suppose if I write here fork. Okay, suppose instead of that I use the function fork. So now there will be, suppose there is a 1, 2, 3. There are 3 statements are there after in this main. So main, after executing this, it will return to this call of 1. This call of 1, or sorry, statement of 1 in parent also, and in child also, copy of the process that it will get. In child also 1 will be executed, 1, 2, 3. Now the only thing is, if you just take an integer value and say, suppose there is a fork, and suppose if I do I is equal to fork, the fork will return a value. So when it will return to the child process, it will have a, if you print the I value, I will be equal to 0 here, and if you print the value for the main function, I will be equal to 1. But in both the cases it will start executing the function from 1 only, in main as well as in child. Okay, so that is your fork command, and it will return the 0 and 1, 0 to the child process and 1 to the parent process. A system call creates copy of the process. This is the important term you need to remember, that it creates copy of the process and returns in both process. Okay, it returns in both process. EXEC replaces the address space with a new program. Okay, so that is also process creation, that execute, you can say, that replaces the address space with the new program. Signal and kill is the system call that allow the process to terminate or have a specific signal sent to it. Okay, so kill and signal is allow the system process to terminate or have specific signals sent to it. Process termination, few more points. Process execute the last statement and then ask the operating system to delete it by using exit system call. Okay, process, so deletion of the process, this is also one of the important point, that if you are at the end of the program, then after that what? After that nothing will happen. In that case, after termination of the program, there is a system call, and that system call is called exit system call. When it is executed at the end of process. Okay, now returns the it returns the status data from the child to parent or wait, and process resources are deallocated by the operating system. Okay, it returns the status data from the child to parent. If you are executing, if a process is a child process, okay, if process is a child process, then it, upon termination, what it will return? It will return the status data to the parent process. Okay, so that will be returning after termination. If it is a parent, then nothing to worry, but if it is a child process, then it will send the status data from child to parent. And definitely, if you are done, then your resources, your memory, your CPU time will be deallocated from the operating system. Parent may terminate the execution of the child process by using abort system call. Okay, so there is another system call, definition of system call we have covered in the last class, and using abort, it can kill the process or terminate the process. Some reason to do so is the child is your accessing allocation, and that is a very much a real life scenario. But generally we don't abort anything, right? We allow our children to let them enjoy, but they sometime, exceedingly consume more and more resource, no longer required. Okay, and the third is the parent is exiting, he's done, and he is just exiting or terminating, so it allowing child to terminate, and that is very selfish. Okay, so that is not good. So anyway, but yes, our children consumes a lot of resources. Okay, that is on the lighter note, but that child allocating the most of the resources and task assigned is not required, and parent is exiting. Okay, so that is the three main reason. Okay, so we have covered almost all the important point written in this. We come back to this for command that create a copy of the process, and the return value is 0 for the child and 1 for the parent, and it is -1, and that is a failed command or is for the error. Okay, so that is the return value of this fork statement. The next thing that we are going to do, we are going to solve problem, and that is one of the very important part related with for command. Okay, so that's all for this discussion. Thank you.